So there are a lot of new chaotic players playing on Recode every day. So I thought I'd make a video outlining some of the most common mistakes new players make when they first start playing chaotic on Recode. The first one, you can already see it in the title of this deck, having too many high BP attacks. So if you don't know what BP means, you see these attacks here? You see that number at the top left? That's how many build points the attack costs. So this is a 5 build point attack. Attacks are from 0 build points to 5 build points. And when you're building your attack deck, you can have a maximum of 20 build points, and you have to have 20 attacks. So new players, I understand, you see a big attack, you're like, oh, I want to run this, and you end up running too many high BP attacks because they look cool. I did the same thing when I started. If you look at this attack deck here, you have Armageddon, big attack, Flaming Coals, big attack, another big attack, semi-big attack. This is only like 5 big attacks, right? But if you look at this, you have 9 attacks that aren't 0 cost. There's 11 0 BP attacks. And on average, 0 PP attacks do 5 damage. This attack deck is too inconsistent. You could have a battle against another creature where you don't draw a single non-0 BP attack, and they just kill you because you're not dealing any damage. And you can lose a fighter just because of that. And this is a very common mistake I see players do all the time. Don't have too many high BP attacks. You want, I'd say, at maximum 8 0 BP attacks. So you see how you have 11 here? You want to cut it down so you only have 8. So you'd have to take a couple of these 3 costs or the 5 cost and exchange the 5 cost for like a 2 cost, 3 cost. A couple of these turn into 1 cost. So you have a maximum of 8 0 BP attacks. The second common mistake that you're going to see players making is running these 0 cost lose your element attacks. Don't use these. And when you're in a single element like attack deck, you're not supposed to use it. You do not. Like this is strike. Use air, right? Do not use this attack. You might think, oh, it's a 0 cost that does 10 or sometimes 15 damage. The other 0 costs only do 5, right? It's not worth it. Here's an example, right? You got the Ursus down to 10. By the way, this is a 0 cost you can't use unless the opponent's creature is about to die. It's the only time you can use it. And even then, it's been a brick in your hand the whole time, this whole battle. Finally, Ursus down to 10. You're like, okay, I can use it, right? Let's attack with this. You play it. It's going to deal 15. What happens if they heal? What if they use Karaba? See Karaba here? He's a healer. What if he heals Ursus? Now you've lost your air. Ursus is still alive. How are you going to deal damage? You just lost your air element. Plus you're going to die anyways, even if you have carnivores, right? You save yourself. Keep battling for what? You don't have air. You can't deal damage anymore. Even in the small, specific circumstance where the opponent's creature is super low, and you have this attack, you finally want to use it, they can heal. And even if they have no healing abilities, like it's a different deck, or they're out of healing abilities, use it, they're still healing music, you don't know what they have. So even if you think they're out of healing, you can finally use this attack. They can still sometimes survive, use Melody of Mirage, heal, then you've lost your element, and now you're guaranteed to lose that fight. Never use any of the 0 cost lose element attacks. There's only specific scenarios. Like if you're running a discipline deck, and your creature and your fighters have the same element, you can use it. Like if you're running a discipline deck with Malvadines for speed, you can use Hurricane because you don't need the air. Or if you're running like a triple element attack or attack deck but you're focused on like 1 or 2 elements, that third element that you don't need, or sorry, not a triple element attack deck. Like if you're running a double element attack deck or single and your fighters have 3 or 4 elements, then you can use those lose element attacks because you don't need the elements. But in cases like this, which is most cases, where you're running single or double elements and you need all your elements for your attack decks, do not use the attack. It is a trap. If you keep using these, it's not going to help you. You're going to lose in the long run. The third common mistake that I see new players making is overcommitting to a fight that you're going to lose, especially the first fight. For some reason, new players, whenever they're getting into a match, they always tend to throw everything they have at the opponent during the first battle. Now, I understand if you for some reason have like one fighter that's amazing, or if you're playing War Beast and you have Blazvitan and that's like your main fighter, and you want to keep them alive. But if you're playing like Strike, you have two Malvadines, Headmaster and Kaija can fight, Awaikis can fight. If you're in this situation, look, you have 5 energy, their Kira's at 30. It's their location, so usually they tend to win on their location. This is a common matchup too. And they're playing an attack, right? Consuming Flame. That does 25 with KO because you got Fire 5. You don't want to like commit too hard here. Yes, you do have a music counter, so maybe you want to throw like your Armament Adagio, get rid of this armor before Malvadine dies, but you don't want to overcommit here. You have 5 health, he's got a bunch of burn, he can probably kill you, and you don't have Before the Storm in your hand. It's different if Before the Storm, because then you can know you can kill KO next fight, or next attack. Well, usually burn has Song of Desperation, so, and you went first on this location because you have air, so you wouldn't kill him. But the idea is you don't overcommit to losing fight. Like, this looks like a losing fight. If you're melodying this to stay alive, plus you have Recklessness 5. So after you melody the Consuming Flame, then do you get Before the Storm? You don't, because you don't know. There's a low chance of getting Before the Storm. You don't have it in your hand already. It's like, okay, I'll play Air Assault. Plus you're going to die from the Recklessness, so you have to commit a Carnivore's Keening. You've already committed 2 Music, and guess what? He hasn't committed any, and your Air Assault is only doing 20 damage. Now he's still alive. You've committed Music. He's got Burn. You're overcommitting to a fight on their location where they had the advantage. Usually a bad idea. Look, there's Might Swing. You're going to go down to 10. You could overcommit a Melody of Mirage again, but then again, they still have 6 Music. 4 of those are Burn Music. They have Almars. These Burns Music going off Coupon, you don't want to overcommit. Look, even if you use Melody of Mirage here, let's say you Melody, right? The Might Swing. Guess what's coming? It's Burn Music. This is the problem here is you've used 3 Music, right? They haven't used any yet. And now they see that you're using all this Music to try and win, and they're like, okay, I'll throw Cannon on you. That's 30 damage off Coupon. All you have left now, because you've used 3 Music already, is a Song of Shelter. And you're committing even more now. Guess what? Of course they have 2 cannons. It's Underworld Burn. They have a second cannon. And you're dead. And they committed 2 Music versus your 4. And they killed you. There's nothing you can do now. These are just gear hate Music. There's nothing you can do. You overcommitted on that fight and still lost. It's because they got the location first. Sometimes you have to concede a battle when they get the location first. That's just how it is. So what you want to do is not overcommit to a losing fight. Don't get stuck in the idea of, oh, I got to throw everything into first fight so I survive. No, especially in a deck like Strike where 5 out of 6 of your creatures can still fight. You don't want to be doing that. So try to remember that next time you're playing is like, can I win this without overcommitting too much resources? Like, if I commit everything, can they commit half of their stuff and still win? This knowledge will come with experience too as you play different matchups. Sometimes you won't know, and it's fine it's called limit testing. Like, see, if I throw everything, can I win this while having them use a decent amount of resources? But sometimes you know, if they're at like almost full health and you're almost dead and nobody's played Music yet, and you start throwing Music in, probably not the best idea. The 4th common mistake I see new players make tends to happen when they start playing burn decks for the first time. Now, if you're playing against War Beasts, their Conjurers are very vital to their deck. So a lot of people just try and burn them right off the bat, which is fine. It's a fine strategy. But I see a lot of new burn players. They do stuff like this. So like, oh, I want to burn Renan. Let's play Ulm. That's 10 damage. Okay, that's 20. Now we need 15 damage to kill him. Okay, let's play Caster's Warsong. Now you've used 3 different things on the Renan, right? This is a Mepedian deck that you're up against. You know what that means? That means they can run Song of Shelter. And Song of Shelter makes a creature untargetable. So if you do all that onto the Renan, and they play Song of Shelter, this music right here, everything you just played now is not going to happen because he's going to become untargetable because this happens before in the burst. Since it's played after, it happens before because burst resolves in reverse order. Song of Shelter will resolve, and then all of this gets blocked. And this is why you never play a bunch of burn in the same burst. What you're going to want to do is play every ability one at a time. So if you played the initial Almar Expend Fire, right? And then you passed, Renan would be at 25. Then you played the next one, you passed, Renan would be at 15. Then if you play casters and they play Song of Shelter, then you can play your second casters on top of Song of Shelter in the same burst. So you'd have Renan at 15 health, you play casters, he plays Song of Shelter, you play casters in the same burst, and chances are you rarely see double cast Song of Shelter. They'll have other stuff maybe, but that's how you play around Song of Shelter. But in this case, you can't play another casters on top of Song of Shelter because he's still at 35 energy. You have to commit another casters off like Takinom and then a cannon to deal 35 damage. So you're committing 2 music instead of 1 because you didn't play around Song of Shelter. So you're going to want to remember that. Whenever you're playing burn, you do not want to play all your burn in one burst. You want to play it one at a time, let it pass, let the burst dissolve, then play it again. This will allow you to play around stuff like Song of Shelter, Carnivore's Keening, other healing sources, stuff like that. So keep that in mind. This last tip I'm going to talk about is actually similar to the third tip, which is about committing to a lost fight. See, in this scenario, your Omquaz at 5 energy, their Ix-6 at 40, it's your attack. Pass, right? I have 3 attacks here. What I see people doing a lot is they play Deadwater in this situation. It's not going to kill the Ix-6. You're down in music. You've committed 2 music already. He's committed 1. And he's going to kill you next attack. If I play Deadwater, it's the same idea. The third tip, it was about committing to a lost fight in terms of using abilities and musics to try and win a fight that's you're already going to lose. This scenario, it's committing your big attacks to a fight that you're going to lose anyway. In this scenario, if you waste Deadwater on this fight, that could turn the tide of the game completely. And a lot of water decks, you only have 2 big attacks. They're 2 Deadwaters. You waste your Deadwater in a fight that you're already going to lose, that could cost you the game. And that's something you don't want to do. And this tip also works the other way. If you're the player playing Ixik right now, you don't want to use big attacks either. But for the reason that you don't want to waste it, but it's because you already won the fight. It's the same idea. If you're winning, you want to throw away your 0-cost cards because you know you're already going to win this battle. And it's the same thing on this side. You're losing, you want to throw your 0-cost attacks or whatever, your weakest attack in your hand because you're already going to lose. So this is just a tip about attack management. Don't waste your high attacks on matches that are already decided because or on battles already decided because you're going to win that battle or you're obviously going to lose that battle. So keep that in mind while you're playing. That's it for the video. Hope you guys liked the 5 common mistakes made by new chaotic players. I'm figuring out if I want to make another video where I do 5 tips submitted by the community. So if you have any tips or ideas that could help, like not even just new players, but players in general, leave it in the comments down below or message me on Discord, and then I might have your tip in the next video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and see you in the next one. Peace.